Today I'm going to show you how to install the Acerbis 6.1 gallon fuel tank on your Yamaha T7. Now the stock tank, you're holding just over 4 gallons and we're averaging about 160 miles per tank. So we're excited to be adding just under 2 gallons to our fuel capacity. That's going to allow us to better plan out our fuel stops. And this thing completely topped off is only going to add about 7 pounds to the bike because the tank itself is actually lighter and it's not going to change your riding position either. So with all that being said, with any fuel system component, you want to check your local laws and regulations to make sure this is going to work with you. But other than that, it's pretty simple to install and it's going to work with your stock plastics. So let's go ahead and get started. To get this done, we have the Acerbis fuel tank. It comes with the vent line, your hardware, and the one-way check valve. Now, when it comes to fuel, I don't like to mess around with O-rings. So I'm replacing the O-ring on the fuel pump. You can find this under the OEM diagrams on our website. And for the tank, just click the link in the description below. We need to start by draining all of the fuel out of our gas tank, and I'm gonna use a safety siphon to do that. Next, we're going to remove the passenger seat with the key. And then for the main seat, we have 2 bolts we're going to remove with a 4mm Allen. And for us, we have crash bars on our bike. We're going to go ahead and remove those. To remove both of the fairings, you're going to need an 8mm socket. You've got 3 trim clips on that inside cowling and then 3 bolts on each fairing. Once those are removed, you have an electrical connection for the turn signal. Just pull up on the tab and it should come right apart. After that, we're just going to remove the remaining hardware and trim clips from each of the plastic pieces still attached to the tank and remove them. Now to remove the fuel tank, I'm going to remove the 4 Allen head bolts on that rear mounting bracket. We're going to pull the tank back. I'm going to use a block of wood to help prop this up while I disconnect everything. So underneath we have our electrical connector. Press in on the tab and remove it. Now to remove the fuel line, you want to press up on this red bracket. There's 2 tabs at the bottom. You can kind of press up on those and separate them. That's going to allow you to squeeze the 2 tabs on the side of that fuel line. And it's a good idea, if you can, you want to have a rag around it while you do this. And we've got our vent line. Remove the clamp and pull that off. And then we'll remove the tank. Now with the tank at the bench, we need to transfer both mounting brackets and the fuel pump to the new tank. So we're going to start in the back. We've got a 10mm socket. Remove those bolts. I'm actually going to flip it upside down right now. Now for the front bracket, 2 more bolts. And pull that off. Now for the fuel pump, you can see it's kind of dirty. I want to clean all that stuff away, and that way when I remove these bolts and the pump, some of that dirt isn't going to get all over your pump. Next, remove that mounting bracket. I've got some rags laid out, so now I can go ahead and pull the pump out. And at the end, you're going to have to rock it out because you have that sending unit. And then you can see, so we have that O-ring or the gasket right here, but again, we're replacing that. Now before we go back together, I just want to make sure everything is cleaned off. So I'm going to wipe the base of this fuel pump down. Now the new O-ring, it's going to have a flat side and a tapered side. The flat side is going to sit against the plastic on the fuel pump when you have it installed. And with that worked down into place, I'm going to reinstall the fuel pump. And if you remember, the fuel line is going to be facing towards the back of the tank. Install the plate. Make sure you line up the dot on the pump with the plate. And we're just going to line that up with the mounting bolt holes. And then we're going to apply just a little bit of Loctite to those mounting bolts. And even though this Loctite is red in color, it's just a medium strength thread lock. Once you have your mounting screws lightly installed, We're gonna tighten them in a crisscross pattern, and then we're gonna tighten those down to 3 foot-pounds. Now for the front bracket, make sure you have it in the correct orientation and install the bolts and tighten them down. Now for the vent line, we're gonna trim about 5 centimeters off, or 2 inches. Now I'm gonna take the check valve and install it into the small piece of hose, and with everything sitting like this, you want the arrow facing up. Then we've got this clamp right on the end. Get that out of the way for a minute. And then attach the long piece of hose to that check valve, and we're gonna take this over to the bike. Now the stock vent line, you wanna follow that down, and we're gonna remove it. And we've got our breather hose, we're gonna connect on there, make sure it's all the way on, and then install the clamp. Then we have these brake lines right here. We're gonna follow those with our vent line. We're gonna go up to the front by where the front of the gas tank will be. And as you route that, just make sure you don't route it anywhere it's gonna get pinched. I'm just gonna set that out of the way for now, and we can go ahead and install our tank. Now for the fuel tank, I'm gonna start with the fuel line. As you push that on, you wanna hear that clip, and then press down on this red locking tab. And I'm gonna tip the tank forward, make the electrical connection. You wanna listen for that click, make sure it's all the way on. I'm gonna remove the rag, and as you set the tank into place, make sure both of these ears are in the correct spots. So with this tank sitting in place, you can see we have a gap here. To help that out, I'm gonna loosen both of these up just a little bit. And then I'm gonna install the 4 mounting bolts and tighten them down. And I'll go back and tighten these 2 other bolts. Now we're gonna install the vent line onto our gas cap, and I'm gonna show you guys a little quick tip we did a while back. I'm gonna cut the end of this off. I'm gonna spread this out just a little bit. So with that stretched out, you're gonna feed the other hose in between it, have it just right at the base right there. Now we can slide the vent hose in place, and with that second piece on top, it's gonna hold it on secure, and it's not gonna pop off as easy like these sometimes do. Now that we're all hooked up, we're gonna fill this back up with fuel and check for any leaks. And I'm just gonna cycle the key a couple times and make sure that once everything is pressurized, that there is still no leaks. So we're looking pretty good. We can go ahead and reinstall the plastics. Now for this side cover, I've got the tab. It's gonna sit behind the gas tank. We're gonna set this in place. We have the 2 bolts, one going in the top and one in the side that take the 5mm Allen. Then you have the smaller stepped bolt in the top that takes that 4mm Allen. Now for this next piece, this top mounting location, it had a plastic trim clip in it, but the difference is now we're gonna be using one of the supplied Allen bolts. Then we'll install the other 2 mounting bolts. So this longer one, it's gonna be in the back going into the other plastic piece. And in the front, the silver bolt, that's gonna go in the bottom corner. And then we'll go back through and tighten all that hardware down and do the same thing on the other side. Now for the side panel, you wanna pay attention to this hook and the one at the top. Make sure they get into place. So right here and right here. We're gonna set those in place as soon as we make our electrical connection. Make sure you slide the connector in its holder. And as you install this, I'm just gonna start at the top with that front bolt. Once that is in place, move to the second one and then move down to the bottom where your 3rd bolt is. After that, we'll install the trim clips and do those same steps on the other side. And from here, all we have to do is reinstall our crash bars and we're good to go. And that's it for the Acerbis 6.1 gallon tank. We're ready to go try this thing out. I'm excited to go ride. Now, if you need one of these or anything else for your T7, go to our website, click the link in the description below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, leave any comments if you have questions, and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.